Okay, hi guys. If you are in the mood for bass, you want to check out this. This is the 7Hz Legato. This is a dual dynamic and it's using a 12mm dynamic driver and a 6mm dynamic driver in a dual dynamic configuration. So one handling the lower portions and one handling everything else. I'm assuming the mid bass, the mid range and the treble. This is the Legato, but before we get into that, let's throw the box away. Box, really nice presentation, looks kind of classier and looks like, this is maybe going to be a refined offering for classical music, and it is not. And I'll get into that in a second. So the carry case that comes with it, these earphones retail on Linso for $109. The carry case is ridiculous. It's beautiful. For example, let's bring in this. This is the audio case that they use on my favorite earphones, the Prestige Limited. These are $1,300, and this is a generic carry case that's got branding on it. This 7Hz thing is absolutely stunning. Also comes with better ear tip selection, a little fur-lined pouch on it, and the earphones are presented just behind here. So absolutely top marks for presentation. If we go into the actual earphones themselves, and I get rid of this little annoying thing that I always wrap up with, but I do like how it's got the Legato and the 7Hz on it there. I think that is a cool little effect. It's just an absolute pain in the ass to unwrap it because it's so much wider than the ones that I'm used to. Now the cable itself is really nice. Again, this is tangled to all hell right now, but once I get untangled, I'll bring it back into the fray for you to have a look at. And here we go. So this cable is really nice. It has a sort of soft touch presence to the finishing on it. It is a light quad braid going into a dual twist after the splitter. You can see the dual twist there. You have a small rubber cable cinch and a metal splitter point terminated in 3.5mm straight angle jack with a little strain relief on it there. But I don't know if you can pick up the little shades of red. It's probably not going to come through on the camera there, but there's little sparkles of red and brown in there that match the colour of this case. It's a really nice looking cable. And of course, if we do the wrap-up test, it's going to sit really nicely, even though that cable thing's getting in the way. But yeah, I found that performed really well. So every single step of the way so far, the packaging, the accessories, the cable, I'm like, how's this $100? And then I get into the actual earphones themselves. Let me go ahead and pop that out. The earphones themselves, really well made. They're maybe like something more in a vein that you would see on a tin hi-fi kind of styling, kind of industrial looking. It's a big metal blob. But thank God the 7Hz have got rid of that stupid disc that they've got on the Timeless, because this is a far better design that's far more comfortable in the ear. It's still a very big earphone, especially considering you've not got anything exceptionally large on the inside. The 12mm driver and a 6mm driver perhaps needs more spacing in this direction as opposed to height and width, because 12mm drivers I've seen fit into smaller housings than this. But it's a one-piece construction into the nozzle, which is metal, and it's got that little 7Hz signature whirlwind at the end. Of course, you need big ventilation because you've got a dual dynamic driver set up on the inside, and then you've got this sort of ridged sunburst effect on the outside. So I think it's a good looking earphone, really well made, and I like that the two-pin connectors sit flush in nicely with this metal surround. It feels like a very cohesive looking earphone. Now the big thing here is the sound quality. This is a weird one because this is a bass monster. This is a bass cannon. This is a bass head earphone, but it's a bass head for people that are maybe not wanting to delve into a V-shape. Like a V-shape is strong prominence in the bass and then strong prominence in the treble. This is more laid back in the treble side of things, and the mid-range is also sitting back from that monstrous bass. When I say monstrous bass, I mean it's big. It is boomy as wham, like smash you right in the mouth. I almost swore. It is big. It has copious amounts of sub-bass extension, as thumping noises for if you're listening to sub-bass heavy genres like certain types of dubstep and stuff like that is going to be perfect for this. And you're not going to get that screechy end of the treble, so it's maybe not going to be something for EDM that's more like Tiesto focus, which relies on the peaking highs dropping into the big bass drops. But if it's consistent, like I used to listen to a lot of industrial music when I lived in Japan, and it would be perfect for that sort of stuff, just that continuous pounding hard deep sub bass line. In terms of the mid-range, it's got decent clarity in it and decent spacing, but it's not like a detail monster, it's not a clarity monster or something like that. The prominence is all on the bass, and it's definitely overshadowed in the mid-range by the low end of things. Again, it's not going to have like great performance in the mid-bass region just because it's so focused towards sub-bass response on it. Treble extension is muted. Again, it's smooth and it does fine in most songs, but it's not something that I would listen to certain genres. This is something I would call an auxiliary earphone. An auxiliary earphone for me is, I've explained this numerous times, but I have an earphone that is an all-rounder. Then I maybe have an earphone that is for critical listening. So for example, right now my favorite earphone is, as I mentioned, the Audio Prestige, which the review is on the channel just now, and that just replaced the Canera Skuld. And they're like my all-around go-tos, but I still have a bass earphone, which at this time is the Manfred Zen's Up. And that handles my deep, like thumping bass, which is pretty prominent because there's a truck outside playing bass going up the hill. The Manfred Zen's Up are my bass cannons. So if I'm going to listen to bass music, I go out and I grab my Manfred Zen's Up. For everything else, I pretty much listen to, at this point, the Prestige Limited. And then for very specific listening, like critical listening and being analytical, I listen to my Etymotic ER4 SR, or actually I do like the XR. I've got both of them. And I find that they both sound good for that critical listening purpose. But this falls into the category of, let's say I had a Tin Hi-Fi P1. So that's a wonderful all-rounder, but perhaps some people say that the bass could be deeper, and you maybe feel like you're missing out a little bit. If you buy a separate earphone, then you've got two earphones that you can go back and forward to, and you can get the best of both worlds rather than spending a lot of money, like say you spend $300 on an even better all-rounder than the P1, but you're still going to be lacking on that real ethereal sub-bass. Now that only becomes useful for people who listen to ethereal sub-bass genres of music. Don't fool yourself in thinking that your occasional pop song and your occasional delve into hip-hop is going to quantify necessity to go and purchase a specific bass head earphone. You have to be pretty much in the know of what you want with a bass slam to go ahead and buy a dedicated earphone for it. But this definitely fits that purpose and is definitely impressive. I've spent a fair amount of time listening to this now, and I have been nothing but impressed with the right music. Is it going to work for everything? Absolutely not. But I think if you're leaning on listening to bassy pop into ethereal grinding deep bass, deep house music, stuff like that, this is going to be really, really good for you. But if you're somebody that does delve into sort of rock, jazz, classical and stuff like that, it's just not going to work. So excellent earphone, really, really enjoyed this. It's going to go onto the bass head list, and I think as an overall package it's absolutely exceptional. Amazing case, really nice cable, good build quality and bassy sound. Yeah, this one definitely gets my recommendation for a bass head.